right. Hello, everybody. You should be able to see us okay. I don't know why it's doing that. All right. Should be able to see us okay. How we doing? Are we live?
Uh, alive and live. Yeah, I suppose we're those things.
Live and alive
Um,
at the same time. As you can see by the mess behind me that the computer is not very well blurring out, I'm broadcasting from home today because it's been a bit busy and I haven't gotten to the church yet. So yeah, we are doing what is generally called a live stream. We're here. Yay! I'm sure that intro video scared the hell out of everybody, but it is what it is.
what did you
Also,
put in the intro video? Was it appropriate or something?
no, it's just
God.
basically like World War II era newsreel type stuff.
Oh, so things from a simpler time.
Yeah, when all we had to worry about were Nazis conquering other countries that weren't American. Um,
Instead of Americans conquering other countries,
yeah.
doing
Well,
their best impression of Nazis.
you know what they say, either you die a hero or you live long enough to become the villain.
Or in America, sometimes you just die because you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, and some gravy seal has an itchy trigger finger.
Yeah. All right. So, apologies in advance to folk. I'm
It has
discovering
been a
that,
terrible fucking day by every metric.
it has at that been a bit of a rough time. I was going to say real quick, apologies to everyone. I've noticed that for some reason, when I tab out of the Discord window back to the broadcast software, the Discord disappears from the broadcast. So if you see me cut out every once in a while, it's because I don't know why it's doing that. And I have to change something. So consider it the Matrix, the equivalent of the black cat in the Matrix. Every time you see the video disappear for a sec, something's changed, but God knows what.
Okay.
Yeah. It's always something new with this shit, but hey, here we are. Anyway, so how
Always
was
something new with
your
this shit.
week?
Well,
Anything
it's been
eventful happened?
interesting. And I don't just mean my personal shit, which is not important to this broadcast. I just mean my country doing some absolute fucking garbage. Um yeah.
Yeah.
We're invading countries, we're threatened just unprovoked and without
Hmm.
congressional approval, just bombing the shit out of other nations' capitals and stealing their if we can just decide that somebody has understandably decide that someone has broken the law, and then just go in and just like take their head of state,
Hmm.
like, can someone else take notes and follow our lead? Only come here.
I'm gonna I'm gonna go even one step farther with this. Like, now, first off, I want to get right out here, and I want to say before I raise my question, I want to make two very clear points here that both as a pastor myself and as a representative of our church community, we condemn in the highest possible ways the actions of the United States government. That
Yeah,
cannot
yeah,
be
no.
said loudly or strongly enough. And I believe what's the colloquial of that? Oh yeah, fuck Trump specifically for doing this. Um, that being said, look, Maduro is not a great guy.
No, but you can't just barge into another country and rip their freaking head of state off out of the seat of power. Like, you can't
Right.
just do that.
Now, I'm no lawyer though, and this is where I wind up confused. Like, does Maduro need to face some justice for some of the shit he's done? Most of the shit he's done, probably all the shit he's done. Yeah, almost certainly. However, he's accused of violating U.S. laws in one of the district courts of New York. Okay, sure, fair. Well, he's a foreign head of state in a foreign country doing foreign things foreignly. How the hell does U.S. law apply? Like, I mean, I'm sorry. Like, setting aside the fact that the things he's done are frankly, morally objectionable, if not outright wrong in most respects. He's probably an illegitimate head of state. Like all of these things are true. How
Yeah.
the fuck is it our business? And how do
It's
we
not.
have the ability to just stroll in there and say you broke U.S. law? Why the hell does that matter? Like, I mean,
Mm.
a lot of other things we
U.S.
can
law
tag
isn't
this guy
even
for.
consistent across states. We don't get to.
Right. Like,
Like, I
also,
say, as I sit here smoking or vape, using not one, not two, but three of these motherfuckers, because it is just that kind of day.
of course, the side note to that, and this is, of course, me asking because I'm not a legal scholar by any means, but does this mean that New York specifically declared war on Venezuela?
Well, there actually no, no. If I'm not mistaken, it's somewhere in. Somebody who's a constitutional scholar, please jump in on this, but I would swear that it's in the Constitution somewhere that states can't unilaterally declare war.
Right. I believe that is in fact the case. I've read
I
that
do
bit
wonder.
myself.
I do wonder if that includes against each other because as a Michigander, I am a member of a state that outside of the Civil War did absolutely fight freaking battles against another state
Yeah, but that's
because fuck
Ohio,
Ohio.
so I think it's fine.
Yeah, yeah, it's fine if it's Ohio.
I'm
That's
pretty
the
sure
one
that
piece of like modern kid lingo that I get. I'm like, oh, Ohio means something is like crappy to mid. Yeah, no fair.
yeah, I'm
I can get behind that.
pretty sure that that there is a constitutional exception for um yeah, for attacking Ohio. There has to be. There's got to be a constitutional exception for that. If there's not, then what are we even doing as a country?
Mm,
So anyway, we didn't attack Ohio. We in fact attacked Venezuela for
yeah,
reasons surpassing and or escaping understanding. Um, I
because leftism that's easy to point at and say, see, evil, and also oil, mostly oil.
so I'm
Also,
going to
because somebody
actually
apparently got it in Trump's ear that they had something to do that they rigged the election or something, which
yeah.
is hilarious because they rigged their own election or Maduro did. It's
And in
I mean
case
like Maduro is not a good dude, but
no, no.
neither
And
was
in
Saddam
case we're wondering
Hussein,
about
and we all saw how that worked out.
yeah, in case we're wondering about the motives, I'm going to switch over here real quick and make sure. Oh, okay, so the screen share is not happening.
You got news on the screen right now?
I should, but I'm having an issue here. One moment. Where did it go?
Oh, and
Oh, I'm
anyone
looking at the wrong.
tuning in, yes, we'll be talking
There
about the
we
other
go.
thing. We had planned on talking
We've
about
got
this anyway.
many other things to talk about at this point. I've got them all queued up because seriously, what the fuck? Up on the screen right now, we have U.S. will control Venezuela oil sales indefinitely, officials say from the BBC,
You can't
because
just
of
run in a country and steal their resources.
yeah,
They're not
that's
even they're not even saying the quiet part out loud at this point. They're like tattooing it on their faces. It's
mhm.
ridiculous.
Yeah, it's unbelievable to me. It honestly is that we would not even bother with the pretense at this point. And I suppose that's kind of what gets me here. And
Almost
like
refreshing.
in a weird way, I will say it's it's I got to return to the wonderful work of Mr. John Stewart, who really highlighted in the recent Daily Show broadcast just how little of a shit they're giving about pretense anymore.
Yeah,
Which
they don't care.
yeah, like they're not even trying anymore. Which is terrifying to me on a
They have successfully
multitude.
boiled the frog.
They've successfully boiled the frog, but more is the point, like, and I really want us to get this through our heads as a people right now. Uh, the purpose of having a pretense for doing shit like this was because they needed it in order to pacify. They needed us to be okay with it. And I really, really can't stress this point enough because I need us all to hear it. They're not afraid of us anymore. Okay? They are not afraid of the average US citizen anymore. There is no longer anything that they think we can do to them, so they can stand right up there in public and say, "Yeah, fuck it, we invaded them for their oil. What you gonna do about it?" And that
And
is,
realistically, what are we gonna fucking do about it?
mhm, yeah, and this is
Aside from emigrate, which I've considered at this point, but I don't want
way
to give
ahead of
up.
you, way ahead of you.
Yeah, no, I know you emigrated to Japan a long time ago, and now they won't let you.
Mhm.
Now they won't let you come back.
Yeah, they will not let me back in now. But that's kind of the thing here is like we talk about fascism, and we have on this program and its predecessors and its successors, um, many times, many times, and what gets me is the idea that we've had conversations about Nazi Germany and the idea that Well, the German citizens could have just risen up and done something, and they could have fought back against their
Yeah,
leaders. They could have earlier in the process, like during that whole Weimar period. Like, yeah, there's a lot the average German citizen could have did. Once
yeah.
Hitler had power and the military were benefiting off him, there wasn't much left that could be done. And I see here in the chat, I see at least one person is saying that, the reps are abandoning the boat. Like, yeah, that's honestly, personally, it's a thing that pisses me off because our representatives could do at least some things and are
They
not.
have some power.
And I say this, and I'm not going to get in too much because I don't want to
They're
cause
just
myself. I
weak.
say I'm not. I'm going to say this because I don't want to cause myself more problems than I will. And so I won't name names quite yet. But like, I have a family member in
Hmm.
the House of Representatives, and let's just say that they better be goddamn glad that I can't come back and be present at family reunions because I would have words for them, a lot of them, usually of the four-letter variety. Because I don't care if your position is at risk. If you've taken the responsibility of being in government, you have a responsibility to chuck any kind of wrench into the machinery that you can. Sabot, as Lieutenant Valeris would describe it. Um, yes, I'm going to keep the Star Trek jokes coming. It's just me. Anyway, um, but like, there's a responsibility to do that. If you wanted to be in the machine, then when the machine is doing a fascism, you have to lay yourself down on the gears. Like, that's the contract. In being in government is that you have to do the thing. And you're right here in the chat that the Republicans are not doing the thing. The Republicans never wanted to do the thing. They're doing the other thing. Even our
Yeah.
Democrats and progressives aren't doing the thing.
That's
And
like
I
saying, why didn't Himmler do something about Hitler? It's mental.
right, like Himmler doesn't
Because
do anything
they
about Hitler.
agreed.
Himmler loves Hitler. Why isn't Lindsey
Hmm.
Graham doing anything about Trump? Because Lindsey Graham is standing behind him on the plane, literally doing the evil hand rubbing, like, yeah, oil, buddy. Like, he's
Yeah.
not gonna
It's
do a
because they're
goddamn
on the
thing.
same team.
Right, they are on the same
It's
team,
because they're on the
exactly.
same team.
Yeah. And what gets me now is like it's not the complicity of the Republicans that bothers me. We've already know which side they've picked. What gets me is the complicity of those in Democratic leadership, any member of the Democratic Party at this point. Like, if you are identifying as a Democrat at this point,
Can I
like, what the
personally
fuck?
call out Chuck Schumer and call him a coward before God and man?
I mean, I was gonna, but since you already did, feel free.
Just specifically, every response to every crisis is as limp as it could possibly be. And
Hmm.
I feel like at this point, it would do our country almost as much of a favor to replace him in office as it would to replace Trump. Because holy fucking shit, you limp psychopath. Like, how do you not care more? How do you not do something? You're one of the few people in the country who has some power right now.
Hmm.
Like,
At this point, um, anyone who is not actively and publicly opposing the machinations of current leadership is either incompetent or complicit.
any what?
Anyone who is not opposing the
Yeah, anyone. Yeah.
machinations of our current power structure, anyone in leadership or in a position of power who's not actively opposing the fascism, is either incompetent or complicit. And thanks to that wonderful late 90s program, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, I learned the word that we have for people who do that. And the word is collaborators. Um, yeah, that's the word that's getting tossed around now for good damn reason. We can't do that. You cannot collaborate with a fascism. It cannot be done. Because do you know what happens when you collaborate with a fascism?
You end up on Behind the Bastards being called a Nazi because you fucking are.
I just switched as I asked that question, I switched the news article that's appearing on the screen. I'm waiting for it to propagate in the online video here. But the new article that I've loaded up says Trump says election should be canceled and warns there will be constitutional movement.
Source on the I can't see the screen. What's the source on this?
This is a Daily Mirror, but it's been picked up again in other places as well. It's just the one I happen to have loaded. Um, so not my favorite source, but it's just the one that got sent to me and I had open originally. I've seen it picked up in the BBC's mentioned it. AP's had something on it. He made the comment. It's there. I
Just this isn't just to play devil's advocate, but legitimately, when there's when there's this much going on, and
Mhm.
again, we haven't hit the biggest news of the day yet, so
Oh
hang
yeah,
on to your butts.
we got a ways to go, but I'm gonna pause here. It was a natural transition, so I'm moving to this one anyway. But um, we all knew this was happening. We all knew this was coming. Um, but it is infuriating. And I see the chat exploding with fury right now, and I get it. I'm with you. But I'm going to disagree with the line I see here that's saying that it's a stupid move by Trump. Um, you say I'm going to read right out of the chat. It's a stupid move by Trump, and even if that happens, he will still lose the House. Well, if he cancels the elections, he's not losing shit. And
Oh dear. Yep, here's the major outlets.
yeah, and so like here's the other point that I got to bring up is like, well, I, a lifelong Star Trek fan, am loath to give credit to George Lucas for much. Like, yeah, this is exactly what Palpatine did. First, my new empire, then dissolve the Senate, then get yourself a Vader and start invading countries. Like that's to his credit, which again, from a Star Trek fan, feels weird. Lucas pretty much had the fascism pipeline nailed with that shit, and that's exactly what's happening here. Um, like he even kind of looks like him, like Ian McDermott in bad makeup. My only regret is that he doesn't. I mean, like, for God's sake, at least give me a fascist who has a voice like that, because like I could at least enjoy having to listen to this shit to make programs about it. But God damn, he sounds like an idiot too.
No.
Um, yeah. So yeah, no, it doesn't. I'm seeing the argument being made in the chat that he still loses the House because 20 Republicans are leaving the House. If he's canceling elections, he's not using the House of Representatives.
Yeah, he's already not using the House of Representatives. Oh,
Yeah.
the Republicans might lose
Mhm.
seats in the legislature is a moot point when the he's
Yeah.
bombing other countries without even
What is
consulting the legislature or
let's
even
go
informing
back
them in
to
advance.
middle school social studies for a minute. Remember, one of the major powers of the legislative branch, the ability to make laws and the ability to declare war. Um, he moved the lawmaking to the Supreme Court, which he controls, or just does what he wants instead, and he's now declared war on his own. He's not
Hmm.
using the legislative
What
branch
kills
at
me is that the
all.
military went ahead and did it. Honestly, I'd like as I'm just kind of digging up the time to process this now because I knew we were going to be talking about it. But honestly, what kind of blows me away is this is something I thought would be a line. Like I thought if it's so blatantly illegal.
And
It goes against the Constitution.
and if you remember,
It's treasonous.
I
And
actually,
they did it. The military did it. I'm like, I think too highly?
well,
Me?
you'll
Think too
remember
highly of the US military?
you'll remember
Like,
or not, who knows, but you may remember that when we had this discussion about this right around the time that Trump took office again, you and I disagreed over this. Like, well, the military will resist, and I've known people in the military. I spent time with the military. When I was younger, I
mhm.
spent time on one of the bases down here. Got to know some folk. Chain of command and information control within the military is a bitch. Like there is a very, 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 very good chance that those who were involved in the execution of the attack either had no legitimate choice in doing so or didn't even necessarily realize or know what they were doing. They're kept isolated, and they're probably like, I'm pretty sure Delta Force is screened to be MAGA compliant at this point anyway, but um, like information control within elite
How did
units
that not
is
even occur to me?
yeah,
God damn it.
like, and what's more, they spend their whole lives training, guy with more pips on his shoulder than you says jump, you say how high, and then go right off the bridge he pointed to. Like that's how military indoctrination works. So a lot of these guys like psychologically don't necessarily even have a choice in it. A whole part of the military training is the removal of autonomy. And that's
Yeah.
like why the way we do military is a problem. There's a whole discussion for another day. So I wasn't expecting myself, the military rank and file, to be resistant to this, which is why folks like Senator Kelly and whatnot did that whole "you don't have to follow illegal orders" video that got the Senator Kelly in a lot
Did
of
I?
trouble.
Yeah. Did I hear correctly that Hegseth stripped his rank?
Stripped his rank, canceled his pension, removed his insurance, the whole deal. He's retired, so it's not technically like kicking him out of the military, but it is removing all of his benefits for being a vet, as much as everything else, and reducing him in rank post facto. Uh, for again releasing and being
See,
participant
no,
in a.
that is that is stolen valor. Fuck stealing the veterans
Mhm.
space at the grocery store. That is some fucking stolen valor shit right
Yeah,
there.
especially
Holy
when you
cow! You
realize
can't
that.
just literally stealing a man's time. For
Mm.
s- for s- for in retirement, speaking up about something that's in the fucking laws of the country.
And that's the thing is
Mm.
this is where, and I'm gonna harken back to my own experience. I have so much experience dealing with this shit from being within Christian circles, particularly like dealing with evangelicals who have infiltrated Christian circles. He got out there and he released a video that said, "Do not follow illegal orders. You are not obligated to follow illegal orders." He was
Yeah,
stripped in rank by the Secretary of Defense for releasing a video that said, "You can refuse any order you want, even legal orders," which is, again, factually is not what happened. But this is how fascists, evangelicals, people with that power mindset, this is how they operate, is they don't operate from a place of truth. They manufacture a wholly different thing that's adjacent to what you did, but isn't the thing you did. And then they go to get you on that because the thing you did wasn't wrong. Uh, but they're like, "Well, no, you actually said this other thing." No, I didn't. Like, check the tape. No, you said the other thing. And it turns into a he said, she said. It takes something from fact to anecdote, from fact to he said, she said, to hearsay. And you can go back and check the tape as much as you want. They're sticking to their position and not changing. They're going to hold the lie for forever. And if they don't yield to fact, there's nothing that can be done. I've lost church positions because of people who got up there and said, "Well, you said this thing in your sermon." Like, no, I didn't. Like, I got the transcript right here. It's up on the YouTubes. Why don't we go
yeah,
have a look? Nope. Nope. You said this thing. Well, I felt you said that. Well, that's great, but that's not what the words said. Like
yeah.
this mentality of a manufactured outrage to take out someone you don't like is much, much older than
When
the
there's
current crisis.
evidence, though, like I'm gonna have to jump ahead to today's events. Anyone anyone watching this, in like posted up in the future. Today is the 7th of January, 2026. So you know,
Holding
I
up a
assume what the
newspaper.
big news is. Yeah, no fucking kidding. Uh,
It's already up on the
the
screen.
the manufactured alternate reality that is being promoted in conservative circles goes completely against everything that's on film.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it,
I mean, this has always
there's
been the case.
evidence.
This has always been the case
It,
when it
it is
comes
it
to,
is literally Orwellian.
yeah. I will say this has always been the case when it comes to shootings by any kind of armed enforcement individuals. Um, the manufacture of threat. And that's very much what's happening in this case. Is they're attempting to manufacture a threat to post facto justify their actions and kind of quick draw McGraw on the situation here. And there are a number of questions regarding the situation. And again, for the moment, I'm not going to. What I'm going to say here is based on just my readings of different exchanges and stuff on this in spaces I occupy. I haven't verified necessarily all things I'm saying for factuality, but I have seen the clip, so it seems to mesh with what I'm saying or what I'm seeing. So if I'm wrong about some of the stuff I'm going to say now, I apologize. First thing that I notice is like this is not a legitimate use of force situation. Like, you look at the way the
No.
guy behaves in the situation, he snap draws and fires into the vehicle, missing, by what I can tell, missing his partner's head by like an inch or two. Like, he could have very easily blown his partner's head off shooting like that. And then, as a corollary to that, and this is again, I need to verify this against records, but I was looking it up and did seem to comply. Is that use of force procedures for CBP and ICE officials? I don't believe they are generally equipped with loaded firearms. Um, they aren't. Not now. Um, sorry, excuse me, I'm being interrupted. What do you need? Not right now. I'm in the middle of something. Okay, and you were told that. Okay, all right, I'm in the middle of something. I'll help you out with that when I'm done. Okay, buddy. Sorry. Well, a guy wanted to play him a video game. Um, so
All
yeah,
good.
following through on that, like, yeah, it is incredibly disheartening because it looks from what I was seeing that like CBP and ICE officials aren't generally equipped with live rounds in these situations. Like, most of the ICE, like, they have guns, but they're usually rubber bullets or less than lethal arms, tasers, shit like that. They're not supposed to necessarily be carrying that shit. Now, I know that like for a lot of the like heavy raiders, they've been equipped with like machine guns and shit like that they've gotten special permission for. But your rank and file, as I understand it, and again, I could be wrong, but my quick read up beforehand seems to suggest this, aren't generally equipped with handguns. So exists the possibility that this guy was just carrying his own damn gun and decided to quick draw, which is a whole other level of wrong. Like, and again, to put all of this shit aside, to put all of this shit aside, like, because the argument over whether the shooting was justified, whether there was a reason for it, the answer is always no. We're the only, like, developed country in the world where our cops just fucking kill people. Like, and even put that aside, that was a human life. Okay, let's yield to all of the extremist right talking points here for a minute and say that this was a person who wanted to
Renee Nicole
run.
Good.
Yeah, yeah.
Renee
Let's
Good.
yeah. Let's say that she was this violent criminal immigrant trying to run down good law-fearing officers of the law. Um, she's a vehicle. You're standing next to it, not in front of it. You can jump out of the way. Why? Why kill? Why in that moment kill? Because you don't value another life. That's the answer. That's the only answer. So you got me sermonizing and a little bit angry there, so it gets me on my rant. But
She had a kid the same age as mine, and her wife was in the passenger seat. From what I understand, too, she just kind of turned it, like drove into the situation and wasn't like trying to be part of a protest,
yeah,
and had been given all confusing orders to stay and to leave, and was trying to leave.
I mean, look, before leaving the United States and
There's
settling over
lots of
here in
video.
Japan. Yeah, before leaving the United States and settling over here in Japan, I was formerly a resident of the great state of Michigan, and I am very, very well familiar with confusingly moderated traffic jams by law enforcement officials who don't know what the fuck they're doing. Like, that's exactly what this was. Like, the minute that clip started before guns came out, I'm like, yeah, this is some idiot who never did any traffic cop training who's trying to direct traffic at an intersection. Obviously, you've got someone stuck in the middle trying to find their way through. I've been in that exact situation a million times myself back in the States. Like, there did not appear to be any malice. I didn't even think there was a protest going on there. Like, I saw no indications of a protest. I'm sure I know there was one nearby, but like in the clip itself, like it didn't seem to be connected to me. And even if it was,
I mean, there were a good number of like activists who were
mhm,
understandably, because this is already up. It's not like, well, why won't you just let ICE go about their business? Like, no, this is already like friggin' goose stepping shit.
why won't
Um,
you let the Gestapo go about their business? I don't know, because they're fucking Nazis.
Yeah, so yeah, there's people following him around, blowing loud whistles and stuff like that. It's part of how the populace is fighting the government sending armed police into our cities and ripping people off the streets without warrants or identification. So, to get that whole thing out of the way, it's perfectly reasonable that they were being harassed to all fuck.
Hmm.
It would seem that Renee Good wasn't even part of it. But if she had been, that wouldn't fucking matter. You
Yeah.
still don't just gun someone down, especially when they're not realistically threatening your life. And if you feel your life was threatened, but is no longer being threatened, as someone who is allegedly armed with a deadly weapon and like if this person was actually a cop, which who knows if it's like an actual cop, cosplaying ICE or who the fuck knows. They change hoods on the regular.
Hmm.
But
So it's always still somehow that pointed white one. Anyway.
like, sorry, I got extra sad and lost my train of thought.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna round it around here for a minute because you highlight a very important point there. Um, if someone was a threat to you but is no longer, if someone hurt you but is moving away,
Yes,
what do you do? Um,
that's
look,
not shooting
I
for
know,
protection. That's shooting for revenge.
yeah, exactly, and I know that at least in a public sphere, a lot of the people involved in ICE, a lot of the leadership on the right tend to identify, I would argue incorrectly, as Christian. Um, I'm going to remind you, if someone slaps you on the one cheek, turn to them the other. You don't turn around and say, I'm gonna give you a sore left cheek and smack them into next Thursday. Like, okay, even if someone hurt you and wasn't necessarily turning away, the answer is not open fire from a Christian perspective. The answer is stop, stay your arms, put yourself in the way of the violence. Do not remove the violence by force. We don't stop bullets with our bullets. We stop bullets with our bodies. That's the Christian way. That's what Dr. King does, what Gandhi does. Well, Gandhi wasn't a Christian, but like nonviolent protesters throughout history have done it in that way for good damn reason. And as a Christian, we should be doing that exactly, which is why, if you want to ask where be the Christians in this, it sure as hell ain't with ICE, it's the protesters. And to be frank, a lot of my bestowed colleagues are out there with the protesters.
I can't. It killed me that more people weren't outraged when they started, you know, like pepper spraying robed clergy. What the
Yeah, like,
fuck?
I said on the last one, like I went to seminary with the guy who got shot in the face by ICE. Like, it's like, I know that guy. Oh, yeah, yeah, that sucks. But it's a lot. Like it is and it is just the escalation of this last week is what I think has truly baffled me. Like how we have gone from this is fine to you know well, see the original intro video in which planet is hit by meteor. Like what? This is all in one week, and I'm literally going to just steal a joke from Colbert here because it was dead on. Like after all of this shit, I just has me thinking, man, what's in the Epstein files must really be lit.
That it's a thing. It apparently doesn't matter. If it mattered, they'd have done something.
It depends on what you mean by matter. Like,
I mean, okay. Every every sin piled on this man matters because truth and reality and justice and fairness that matter.
you know,
But
here's the thing that
nothing's. I don't know what's going to take him out at this point. Like, and I don't mean like get violence. I mean like take him out of power at this
yeah,
point. And even if he does, there's we've crossed so many Rubicons at this point where it's like, how do
here's the
you
thing I
even get
need
back
us
to a place where you can be proud of it?
here's the thing I need us all to understand. First off, there is a legal, not necessarily a doctrine, but a legal concept called standard of reasonableness, where basically, um, how do you know if something qualifies as this? And the definition is basically just what any reasonable person would consider this. And so we look to our government and think that there's got to be a rationale for this because our government leaders, like we even subconsciously think, have to be at least somewhat reasonable. And what I really need us to understand is that we are currently being dominated by the least reasonable among us. So expecting them to adhere to the standards of the laws that we understand is irrational. It's the same. Like I had this growing up, and I had this as in seminary. And I had this recently as a pastor as well. It's like trying to convince evangelicals to read the Bible the same way that I do, because I read the Bible as someone who's trained and studied and works with other people who have trained and studied and tries to teach other people to train and study. But an evangelical reads the Bible and says, "Well, I already want to shoot me some brown folk, so I'm going to read the Bible if it says brown folk are allowed to be shot." Like, that's not a reasonable interpretation. That is not a reasonable understanding of the scripture. But you cannot argue that because they don't share the base understanding of a reasonable understanding. Their sense of reason is not the same as ours anymore. So, us trying to argue the legality of Trump's actions, us trying to argue the morality or the compassion or even the sanity of right wing conservatism in America is a losing battle. They don't have the same morality that we do. I would, I'm going to be very direct here and say that, I do believe that evil cannot endure. This, whatever this is, will not last forever. And when it ends, whether it ends in fire and hell or whether it ends with a whimper in an election, when it ends, there's going to be some kind of Nuremberg situation here. Um, and it's going to be very, very difficult for us to go through that as a people because the people on the other side of this will argue to their grave that what they did was fine. Not because they believe that arguing will get them anywhere. And we miss this with people like Trump. We think they're arguing because they think they're going to win. No, no, they believe what they're saying because their reality is different. Their morality is different. And you cannot convince them to feel and believe in the same way that we do. But
It's not even just a matter of feeling and believing, it's a matter of looking at, like, looking at a red box and calling it a blue ball. Like, there's objective reality, and that they just disregard it.
and if they do, and if they don't believe that that is what reality is, you cannot teach them that from a place of unequal authority. The purpose, or I should say, the tool by which people like this are rehabilitated into understanding the world in that reasonable way is prison. That's what it's actually for. Like, I got to be honest with you. This is why we put people in prison. And I don't mean like US prisons, which are basically abuse factories for slave labor. Like, civilized prison is there for people who have to be rehabilitated. And every single person in our leadership right now needs to be in jail, top to bottom, unless they are actively opposing this or fighting this with their last breath. If you are complicit in these power structures, there's a prison cell waiting for you on the other end of this. There should be, at least. And that's not because you need to be punished. It's not because you need to be destroyed. It's not because these are the wages of your sin. It's because you have lost reality and you need to be
I do
reacquainted with
want to
it.
just step in and reiterate what you said too about the U.S. prison system too, because abolish the U.S. prison system. It does not work.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
terrible. It is legalized slavery. It is
Yes.
so many horrible, horrible things. Take 10 minutes and look into it. You'll agree.
Yeah,
Um, it-
we are at max for topics on this pod today, so I'm not gonna get into that one. But yes, you are right.
yeah.
But no, like we need to. God, I got in so much shit when I was in high school for talking about the fight between right wing politicians and evangelicals and stuff like it was some kind of um desperate war and like the sort of thing that would end with people being in prison. Oh, you're just a teenager. You're overreacting. Well, guess what? Here I am, 41 fucking years old. Every one of these guys, I stand by the things I said when I was an unrepentant, ill-mannered teenager. These nut jobs need to be in jail. They are what they are espousing are hate crimes and war crimes. And let's not even forget that, like, God, I remember growing up, we used to like when we would talk about these kind of international things, we'd at least look at the Geneva Convention as one of those things that we'd look at with all. Like, okay, you got to at least follow the Geneva Convention. Like, my lord, we threw that shit out the window too. Like, I have to go back and I'm going to go back for just a minute to the attack on Venezuela here for one moment, and I'm gonna mention this because it deserves mentioning that there were Geneva Convention violations in this. Like, let's be clear, the bombings didn't just target military facilities. They blew up a fucking what's his name? The former president. Why am I blanking on his name?
Maduro?
What?
Maduro?
Not Maduro, the guy he took over from the previous one.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But go ahead.
yeah, his mausoleum was bombed. Like, they bombed the guy's freaking mausoleum, which, I saw Chavez. That's who it was, Chavez. Like, they bombed the Chavez
Yeah.
mausoleum. Um, Now, I'll admit, like, Chavez, you have your opinions on Chavez, whatever they are. The mausoleum itself, like, it was bad taste. I didn't quite like the look of it. But then again, like, none of those are reasons for a tactical military strike.
No, what?
And I'm gonna hop
No,
on something.
there is a good reason for a strike like that. Symbolism, because
Yeah.
you're trying to make a statement with the thing you're destroying. Do you know what it's called when you try and make a statement with the thing you're destroying?
Hmm.
Terrorism. And I love
Yeah.
that their VP popped out and was like, "We don't negotiate with terrorists." Like,
I have yet to see where that comes from, but like, if that is truly what's said, hmm, chef's kiss. I do want to respond a minute real
I'll
quick
take
to
it up. I apologize if I had that wrong.
yeah. I do want to respond to this line in the chat here. Evangelicals are everywhere and their beliefs are just crazy. Um, I said this way back in the day, and I've said it every opportunity since. What we call evangelicalism or American evangelicalism, it's not Christianity. It's not a religious belief system. Like, what we were infiltrated by in the West, in America in particular, is a school of, frankly, political thought that parasited itself onto religious heretics. And the core of that school of thought, what formed evangelicalism, is y'all ever watch Community? The old, God, I am old. The the comedy show featuring Donald Glover and the ghost of Chevy Chase racism. Um, That one. Good show. I actually quite enjoyed it. But there's a line, and I think it's the pilot episode, where the main character says something to the effect of, I learned that if I talk long enough, I'm always right. So either I'm God or truth is relative. And in either case, booyah. Um, and I may have gotten it exactly right. But that's evangelicalism right there.
Yikes.
Like, that's evangelicalism right there in a nutshell. It's not a religious belief system. It's not a faith practice. It's, if I wield the scepter of faith and talk long enough, I can always be right. And that basically makes me God. So fuck all y'all, I'm gonna get mine. Like, you watch that play out in
Mhm.
evangelical circles all the time. Like, where whoever talks the longest or the loudest or with the most passion or whoever sounds the most convincing. Like, there's a reason why, like, in my youth, I was tempted towards evangelicalism as a belief system because I don't fucking stop talking. Like, I would clean up in those circles if I were of a mind to. And like, I watched this happen in churches. It's got nothing to do with whose argument is right. It's got nothing to do with the facts or the faith. It's got to do with whether you sound convincing or passionate enough. And the goal is never,
Mm.
like, the goal is always to win hearts and minds, uh, which you may notice is not a biblical perspective to have. Like, we're not all about capturing other people's minds and ways of thinking and stuff like that. We're about helping people. So the idea of winning hearts and minds, it's basically like it's a high school popularity contest. just writ large, because we all know that the more people who will listen to you, the more power you have, which is one of the reasons why I really want you all to like, share, and subscribe, by the way. Anyway, um, the point I was
Give
like,
me the
yeah, it's a okay. Thank you from the chat. So evangelical movement is just being an asshole. Yes, you're right. I would probably qualify it that way. It's a bit reductive, but you're not
very
necessarily
much.
wrong. And that's, I wouldn't say just being an asshole, it's being an asshole for your own benefit. And so that's why we see like the behavior of Trump and Trump's inner circle looks exactly like the behavior of Osteen and his inner circle, or Franklin Graham and his inner circle, or insert megachurch pastor here in their inner circle. Like they're all up to all
Right.
kinds of shit that contradicts anything they're saying. They're all dipping in the kitty. They're all taking whatever the hell they want, because it was never about the thing they espouse to believe in. Trump doesn't give a shit about America. He's not president because he wants to care about any group of people. He's there to get his. And he realizes that if he
Hmm.
talks long enough, people will put him in a position of power and he can get his. That's all this was ever about. And that's all that most of them that are
Thanks,
still
I
involved
hate
in this
it.
are up for. Narcissism. Dead on, Chet. Dead on. Um,
I don't
and
like
so
it.
I am not a fan of it either. Um, yeah,
I
I
do
hear it's
not like
about
it, Sam. I
yeah, I hear the line in the chat. It's about instilling fear in everyone. Yes, because once you have the power, fear is how you control them. You attract them with your honeyed words, and you keep them with the fear. Trump got in by honeying the words with a religious right, and once he got there, it's the fear that's keeping him there. The reason we don't have an insurrection is because he's got people afraid of ice bullets firing into cars. Like that's not a bug, that's a feature. So what do we do?
I have no fucking idea. Because focusing on building community and like uplifting the people that you can that are around you and doing the
Yeah.
small good to add up to some decent good because we can't do
Mhm.
the great good on our own.
Yeah. I'm gonna
Um
be I'm gonna be
feels kind
honest.
of futile. Feels
Hmm?
kind of futile when they're gunning us down.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest here. This is gonna sound weird, but I think we need to stop protesting.
Why?
Like that form of resistance is putting people in the line of fire, and it's not helping. Like visibility of protests, I honestly don't think they're not listening.
And what do we do? Just sit on our fucking hands? We can't even stand up and say, "Hey, no, fuck you."
Oh yeah, we should definitely do that. I don't think the way
That's what
we
protest
protest.
is, standing up and saying, "Hey, no, fuck you guys."
I want to be clear. When I say protest, I mean the way in which we protest, by having these kind of protest marches and turning up in, like, trying to move onto their turf. Like, and I'm gonna be very very tactical about this. Like the idea of protesting, the need to resist is there, but I think we need less protesting and more resistance at this point. Protesting is wielding visibility as a weapon, and that doesn't work anymore. It doesn't.
Yeah.
They don't care. They see it and they don't care. What we need to be doing is we need to stop trying to bring
Everybody
the
who
fight.
gives a shit has seen.
Yeah, everybody gives a shit a scene. That ship has sailed. We can't keep trying to bring the fight to them because they're just going to keep shooting at us. From a tactical perspective, we need to be building our local communities and circling around them. Like, set up everybody in the church, and if ICE tries to come in, draw on those motherfuckers. I mean, I'm obviously not going to espouse violence, of course, but like, if you want to gesture at them a little bit
No,
and
no,
tell them,
I
like,
that's what I'm saying though. Apart from that, what? Because it's
there
getting
is no
ridiculous.
what. Like, the United States is under fascist control. There's no way to enact global change at this point. There isn't. And the reasons we protest are because we want people to see and rise up and fight back. But
So basically you're just saying less visible action, more direct action.
yes, absolutely. Like this is no longer a defense against the rise of fascism. This is how do we endure a fascism until it goes away? And that's the answer to that is surround your
How does it
communities.
go away?
Well, historically speaking, it usually goes away when the
Apart from the
Allies
U.S.
invade.
military, because it's not going to happen.
Yeah. I was going to say historically it goes away when the Allies invade. I think I think
The
I'm not
United States is so hilariously impossible to invade, though. It's fuck off huge. It's surrounded by huge, long, single country borders and ocean. Complete ocean on both sides with large spheres of control and military pockmarks all over the globe. Like,
yeah,
how? How is it ever going to happen?
I don't think we're going to be subject to an actual invasion, and I don't think again, I am not a warfare expert, but I think the days of the troops and the boats flying over, I don't think we're going to see a Normandy invasion in the shores of DC or anything. I think what a I I think ironically we just witnessed what is most likely to happen if anybody's, gonna do it.
What do you? Oh,
A tactical strike against our leadership, cut the head off. Like that's what'll happen. And I mean, my only prayer is that if someone decides to do that they minimize casualties in so doing it. Like I'm not going to say that that's a bad call, although I will not espouse or condone violence of any sort. I don't know that there
no,
are.
but that kills me too. If we were like, we just have to get Maduro out of there because he's just such a bad guy. Like, why not? That was clearly two separate operations. Like, why not go in and get him? And you don't have to bomb the fuck out of Caracas.
Yeah, no, and that's really the thing is like we
I
are
still
not.
don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like the solution having to, because then again you're saying the solution has to be some manner of violence.
Yeah,
And
we can't be, and I see this in the chat. Hit the pocketbook. Like we can't be supporting any political groups at this point. Like the Democrats aren't going to fight back, so we shouldn't be donating to them or
oh
helping
god,
them or
no, I've
working with
lost
them.
like all my faith
Yeah.
in their
Like
ability to do
there
anything.
should be Democratic causes shouldn't be on anyone's radar, and definitely not Republican causes. We're going to win this fight, for lack of a better term, by circling around our communities and protecting the people we can reach. And as we do that, we need to wait. We need to wait for the right moment. Like historically speaking, fascisms are toppled by external forces or internal resistance cells. I'm not a fighter. I'm not going to be, or even if I was still back in the U.S., I wouldn't be organizing violent resistance. But there will be some who do. Eventually, someone's going to pull it off. Our job is to save whoever we can in the meantime, and
Yeah.
that's really what it boils down to. And if you have the ability to get out or the ability to get people out, you should be trying to do that. Like, and this may, as is mentioned in the chat, it may turn into a global struggle. In which case, I really want to tell my friends back in the States, all of you, especially you, Courtney, that the way of things in the United States is not a global universal. Like there's more good out here than bad. We've got conservative countries and conservative leadership in places around here, but even the conservative shift here in Japan is peanuts compared to what we're seeing in America. Uh, it's not as bad as it seems right now. And ironically, if Trump keeps doing what he's doing and just seizing countries, because again, I wanna bring this up here just a minute. You're gonna lose the video here for a second. I'm gonna bring one last thing up here, which I think would be exactly how this ends. And the article that's up on screen, since I know you can't see it, Courtney, just reads, "How could Donald Trump, quote, take Greenland?" For the life of me, I still don't fully understand why he's fixated on it necessarily.
Oh,
Um,
they've got ridiculous oil reserves.
is that it? The irony being that oil's not that big of a need, but um,
Also, it makes the country a lot bigger. That's it.
yeah,
That's all it is.
I think he's just trying to conquer the world. The problem is that like,
Oh, actually, I think they've got rare earth minerals too.
yeah,
So,
maybe. But here's the
so
thing.
he wants to go up
He's
and destroy the glaciers.
yeah.
Great.
Here's the thing: if you want to unite the world, you have to lead like Gandhi. If you want to conquer the world, you have to approach it like you're playing Civilization as Gandhi, which is exactly what Trump's doing. For those of you who've never played Sid Meier's Civilization, one of my favorite stories, there was a glitch in the original code as to the use of nuclear weapons and military force, where your
Right.
ability, a leader's willingness to use it was programmed from a scale of 1 to 10. But when they put the
Mm-hmm.
programming in, they didn't. It was programmed in like base 9 or something. So when you program someone as a 10, no, I got the other way around. It was programmed that way, but it was 1 to 10, and so they put Gandhi as a 0, but they didn't realize the way the coding worked is the 0 flipped him back around to a 10 as the computer registered as it. So if you played Civ, what would happen is anytime you encountered India, Gandhi would be like, "Hello, I am Gandhi Ji. I am going to be your peaceful best friend," and then it would immediately nuke the shit out of you. Um, but that's basically the truism: is if you want to unite the world, you have to lead as Gandhi actual. If you want to rule the world by conquest, you have to play as Civilization Gandhi, which is what Trump's trying to do: seize territory, seize resources, and stuff like that. The problem is, America is a big deal, but not that big of a deal. Like, I mean, we have a lot of very powerful,
He's
very
been doing
creative.
best to, he spent the last couple of decades doing his best to undermine our position on the world stage in general,
Yep,
so.
exactly, and that's where this ends. Is eventually, like I said, from within or without. Those of us who can resist more directly are going to do so. Those of us who can get people out, like myself, who's trying to figure out how to do that, will do so. Those who can get out should get out. Those who can't should protect those who also can't. Um, we endure. Those who can fight back will fight back, and our allies on the outside will do the same. And eventually, it will come to an end. Eventually, how long that's going to be depends on a lot of factors. But as I said when I brought this up, ironically, the fact that Trump is just like, okay, I'm gonna take Venezuela. No, I'm gonna take Greenland. Canada, watch your back. Like he's escalating at such a
Mexico, you
speed.
mentioned we gotta do something about Mexico. I'm like, Jesus!
Yeah, like he's getting to the end of his term slash life at this point. I'm not sure which is going to end first. Between his very obvious health issues, and the fact that he's courting assassination with the way he's treating people, and the fact that he technically is closing in on the end of his term if he's going to stick with that. Um, like he realizes his time is up one way or the other, and so he's trying to escalate, like someone who's against the wall often does, which puts us in this very specific position of if he's going to keep trying to escalate, he's given up the subtle approach, he's given up the slow approach, which means it's not going to work. Like he's going to tip the scales, he's going to move too quickly, too precipitously, and he's going to get struck down one way or the other. We just got to hold out till that happens. Yay!
Well, first commandment is love one another.
That's where it
So,
comes down. That is first order of business for a Christian: to love each other, to love one another, to turn up for folk. You got a way to help somebody? Help somebody. You got a way to protect somebody? Protect somebody. You got attic space for an immigrant in your community? Do it up. Cover that door with one of those nice little bookshelf false doors or something. Soundproof the hell out of that room. Do what you got to do. You see an ICE agent in the street going about their business. Ain't nothing in the Bible says you can't spit at somebody. Um, you wanna, oh, I don't know, do what Hilton did and start shutting down the reservations for any ICE agents who happen to turn up. All right, do what you gotta do. What you gotta do. You hold on. You resist where you can. You square up your space. You protect who you can. Um, yeah, you just help in whatever way you can do. That's the thing. Like in whatever way you can resist, you got to resist. Um, and like for me personally, like I'm a fan of DIY construction. I love the idea of kind of like building yourself a space and hiding space, like put people in the walls, doing a matrix situation, or like under the floorboards, or yeah, I've actually been a fan over the years of like some of those DIY videos where people build like an underground bunker in their backyard and stuff, and like, tunnel through the house and stuff like that. Like, yeah, definitely keep doing that shit. Only hide immigrants in it, please. Like,
Yeah, frankly, if Hope College wasn't a hotbed of
oh
bullshittery,
God, yes, that'd be
the
perfect.
tunnels.
Ah, yeah. Although I don't know how many of them are still there because like they took out. I think they took out graves at this point. They took out a couple of different places. They
Hmm.
built a whole lot of new buildings and stuff. I don't know if the tunnel, like the chapel's still there. So, and I know that Nykirk's still there. So at least I know one of those tunnels is still there. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, no, like that would have been great. But even failing that, like a lot of big damn buildings on university campuses. You're already considered targets by the administration anyway. So, if you're an educational institution, use that shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll come back to what I said a couple
Do
of
you have a
broadcasts ago
do you
too.
have a department with Do you have a department with hilariously extensive back rooms that don't need to be kept sterile? You have an opportunity.
Do you just know how to get into the back rooms? You've got a really good opportunity then. Or how
Mm-hmm.
about what I said a couple of broadcasts ago? Like, are you a church or do you have access to a repurposed church building? That's why we built them so big in the first place, you morons. Like,
To serve the community as fully as possible.
I told this story before about the church I grew up in when I was young. Went from this tiny, like, kind of like really, really tiny, kind of regular sized church, and then blew up with this big basketball court and big everything, and triple the size. It was great. I remember when we did it, early days, like in the '90s. And one of the stories that was told to me in those days was that, like, well, yeah, when we get some of those really big snowstorms and shit like that, and people can't get in their houses and stuff, we turn it into a nice little shelter. Put the homeless people in there. Of course, they never did because evangelicalism happened, and people were like, "Oh, well, fuck the poor people." Um, but like that was one of the arguments used for building the thing so damn big in the first place. And okay, like I know some of the churches I work with back in New Jersey do this periodically, at least to open them up to the homeless on particularly cold nights. But like we need to be doing that for everybody now. Like churches have to be fucking communes. But
Yeah, pretty much.
do what you can, hide who you can, support who you can, and help everybody. That's the end rule here. I'm gonna start bringing it.
Grow food, and learn how to forage.
Yeah, get your local community chemist together and start brewing Adderall or something. Whatever you got to do. Um, you know. That being said, I'm going to draw us for time's sake here. I'm going to draw us to a close because I got a million more things to do today. Um, those of you who are watching along, I do want to invite you to continue this conversation here on the server. I know things have been quiet for the last month or so because, well, I have been both getting through the Advent season and personally very, very overwhelmed with some shit on this end. And it's going to be quiet again for another month too, because for those of you who don't know me, I'm currently working through my doctoral thesis, which is going to murder me repeatedly over the next month or so. So I will be things will be a little slower here in the community, and I'm going to be leaning on, oh, I don't know, say my VP and others to kind of help move things along. Um, Raised eyebrows appropriate to that. Any of you who are in the community, I will be leaning on you very much to help kind of move things along as I'm kind of overwhelmed here. That being said, I do want to invite you all to continue this conversation in our community space. And if you're not watching and you're not part of our community, join the Discord server. Please come join us, have that
Mhm.
conversation. Um, as for our kind of like our regular schedule, we are off from worship until the beginning of next month, although I'm still trying to work out maybe something for the middle of this month yet. We're going to be accepting some new members in our next worship when that pops off. So come join us for that. It's going to be a pretty big deal. Um, we're working on stuff here locally in the community. We've got a newsletter that we're working on, a Substack type thing. Please, please keep in touch with us. Comment the hell out of these videos too when they pop up. Share them around. And as in all obedience to the divine Courtney, please.
Like, share, and subscribe.
Yes, please.
Please.
Please, please, for me, for cute little me, please. Oh wait, no, not cute. Never mind. Sorry. Um, but yes, please help us get the word out there, bring people in. I would be lying if I said that our church was likely to financially survive this situation. If you have the means to help us financially survive this situation, please, 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 we're trying to do good work. Please help. Links and stuff you can find in the description for that, or you can just reach out to me directly. Any last words for the folks at home, Courtney?
God help us all.
That is the prayer. It really is. All right, everybody. God be with you this week. I am praying so hard for every last one of you, and I hope that despite all the horrors, that you may still find some joy in your week because it's there. I promise you. I promise you that if you let the horrors, which will continue well enough without your attention, if you let them set aside for a minute, there is still joy to be found. No matter how dark the night, there's still a star or two twinkling up there if you look. Take care, everybody. We'll see you around the next one. Bye, y'all.
Bye. Go do something you enjoy. Have fun. Just for 5 minutes.